Well, friends, in the last video I told you how the Lord allowed me to meet Mr. and Mrs. Burnett in the Review and Herald, Hagerstown, US. You can watch the other videos and you will see all of that in www.embracetheamazon.org. Well, after meeting them, they found me a good job where I went to work, make some money, and come back to Brazil in order to finish college, my business college. So I did and came to Brazil. I studied 3 years of college in 2 years and worked also as well. And finally, Mr. Burnett called me and told me, Ronnie, come here. We found a good job for you as a Bible worker, and we will be able to get the green card after 2 years of work. Well, I thought, I just have 1 more year to finish business administration. I will go there, get my green card, come back and finish college. So I went. They took me to a wonderful place, a beautiful house by a gorgeous lake, very tall trees on both sides surrounding, and large mountains on the sides also. It was an amazing place. But they told me, after all, the owners of that place and the people who were getting me as a Bible worker, they said, well, it may happen that you never get a green card. It may happen that you spend all your life here and you'll never get that. And you see, I was young. At that moment, I was 24. I wanted to get married. And I thought, well, I just have 1 more year to go and finish. If I stay here, I will lose my college, everything I have done. So I decided to go back and finish college, and then go back to the US if the Lord allowed to work as a Bible worker or as a missionary. So I decided to come back to Brazil. But before coming to Brazil, I went to Miami in order to work as a canvasser, selling religious books and also health books, family books. I spent 2 weeks doing that, and during that time in Brazil, a politician called Lula, that finally became a president of Brazil, at that moment he was very radical. He was extreme left. He said Brazil, he wanted a communist Brazil. And he worked for that and told everybody that. And in the US, everybody was talking about that. Everybody was saying, Brazil is going to get into great trouble. So I was anxious also. I didn't want to live in a communist country. So I started praying, Lord, should I really go back? Isn't it better to stay here and just be a Bible worker and work for you and that's all? I started praying, please show me. Well, at the end of an afternoon, I knocked at the door of an elderly lady. She right away found out that I was Brazilian. She invited me to get into the apartment. Once I sat down, she pointed to me with her finger and said, "You cannot go back home? You should not go back home." And I asked, why? And she repeated, the same things that were in my mind concerning me, making me question if I should go back or not. So she said the same things. And I started thinking, Lord, is it you? And a thought came into my mind, Ronnie, try to go to Heidelberg College, call them, and find out if they will accept you. Well, I knew about Heidelberg, about Weimar College in California, US. I knew it was very hard to get in there. Some years ago I have filled some applications asking them to accept me, and I knew it was very hard to be accepted there. So I decided to call the school. I found the number, I called them, I told the girl who answered the phone about my situation, my need, and she said, have you filled any application? And I said, oh yes, some years ago. Okay, let me see if they approved your request. After a short while, she answered, Mr. Ronnie Rees, is it you? Yes. You lived in Pará State, Belém City? Yes, that's me. Well, you were approved. You can come in. You can come. But I don't have any money. No, don't worry about that. This is the place where miracles happen. So, if you feel the Lord's calling you, come, and He will take care of you. Okay? I figured out how much it would cost for the plane fare, and I counted the amount of money I had raised during those 2 weeks working, selling books. And that was enough for the airplane trip and also for the renting of the apartment. Just enough. So I called my parents, American parents. Oh, I forgot to say that Mr. and Mrs. Burnett from the Review and Herald, they adopted me as their son, giving me the same rights as their 2 other sons, the same ones, as if I was one of them. The same rights, exactly the same ones. Well, I called them and I told them about what was happening. And they said, well, it seems the Lord is directing you. And we will call a friend of ours who lives close by Weimar, and she will take you to the college. And so she did. I got there at the end of a Thursday, about evening. When I got in the room, I was so excited because I was seeing the Lord was leading and things were happening. And that was Thursday. I met my new friends who we were all going to sleep in the same room, 3 others, plus me. On the next day was going to be Friday, and there was a meeting of pastors of the SDA church right there. And I found a group of pastors after their meeting, and I told them about my story and that I still had doubts if the Lord wanted me to be there, and asked them to pray for me, for the Lord to show that, make that sure, for I still needed money to pay for the studies. At the end of that afternoon, there was worship for receiving the Sabbath. And a couple of missionaries from China and Philippines were giving their testimonials. And I was so excited. I was so excited, so thrilled. I wanted so much to do that kind of work, and I felt, wow, this is the place. This is the place. And that happened on Friday, worship, Sabbath, starting Sabbath. And also, in the Sabbath service, they continued giving their testimonials, telling their stories, things that happened to them so often. And I was so excited, and I said, oh Lord, I wanted so badly to be a part of that team. If you allow me, if it's your purpose for me to be here, please let me get into that group. Let them invite me to work with them. Well, the worship ended. Then came lunch. I went for lunch in the cafeteria. By the end of lunchtime, that same leader, the leader of those missionaries, he came to me and said, tell me, are you Brazilian? Yes, I am. Oh, good. Tell me, I have to travel after Sabbath. I have to travel all night long to deliver documents in a college quite far from here. I will have to travel all night driving myself. I don't want to go by myself. I want to go with somebody so we can talk and we can get to know each other. Would you go with me? And I said, oh sure. That was what I was praying for. I didn't say that to him, but that I was praying for that. And during that trip, he invited me to become one of his team. And I was so glad, so thankful to the Lord. He was working, and during that week, the college administration called me and said, somebody has paid for all your fees. You can stay here throughout your course. You're fine. So I was very glad, very excited, for I knew God was working. But that's not the end. There are many other stories. I don't want to tell you all at once. I will finish this recording and continue recording a new one so you can see what happened next. To find all our videos and know what we're doing, just go to www.embracetheamazon.org. Find all our videos, pictures, articles, everything we're doing and why. And see how you can join us and be part of all we're doing. See you there. Embracetheamazon.org. Thank you.